What up, though, y'all? What up, though? What up? Obviously, y'all can see we got a very different format today. We got both of us in the same room for the first time. Was hoping to do this during the Bills weekend, but it was her birthday, so
It was your fault.
I wouldn't say it was my fault, but
Okay.
we was out turning up on her behalf. So we finally got us back, of course, because we got Christmas, all that kind of stuff. I'm back in Michigan, which I know I'm very missed and very needed and very beloved here. So always glad to
Oh,
be
for real?
here. Yeah, for real. Also, I like the fact that I look a lot taller than you, and this really works well.
Listen, I'm the hunchback another dime right now.
Uh, yeah, you are actually. That's very bad posture, but I think my chair just a lot higher. Though Kira probably keep her chair kind of high.
Right, it's just a chair.
Yeah, it was really
Just
just a chair.
you know.
But yeah, to go ahead and introduce ourselves, of course, it's your boy King Keith. You follow me on Instagram _ Dr. King's Dream, on Twitter at the same thing. And I'm gonna pass it over to CB.
All right, let's go and get it started. I am Sierra, or better known as CB. You can follow me on Instagram for at CB Love That for ya.
I'm glad I could thumbs that down in person.
Man, stop hating me.
I can't.
Not even 5 minutes until us sitting together. See, this is why we can't sit together because it's always one hater. Anyway, so you can follow me on Instagram at CB Love That for ya. You can follow us on TikTok at Detroit Lions 411 or 411 Lions, whatever you want to call. I do have to give a shout out to a couple new listeners. We got a couple new listeners on Spotify. We do have a couple new listeners, I believe 14 on the Apple podcast. Shout out to you. Thank you for tuning in, things of that nature. And I do got to shout out my girl Kay at Dorsey School.
What's that?
She got me this for my birthday.
Oh, okay. Shout out. I thought you was about to say she made it. I was about to say that's impressive.
You know what? She do art. She probably can make it. But yeah, anyway, shout out to Kay and Dorsey for giving that to me. Anyway, but yeah, so shout out our new listeners. We will be covering the playoffs. We'll be a little bit earlier with things. I know our episodes do drop sometimes after, but we will be right on episodes right after the game. We promise.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. Since we're together this Sunday, we should be able to take care of that this Sunday. So,
well, I thought they played Monday night, the 30th.
Ooh, they do play Monday night, don't they? This is a Monday night game against San Francisco. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it is. Oh,
yeah, I think 8 o'clock or something.
I didn't even consider that. That just okay. I forgot because I had plans and stuff. All right. Anyways, so to go ahead and talk about the game itself, which happened this most recent weekend. Of course, the Lions defeated the Chicago Bears. CB, what was the score again? Was it
34-17?
34-17, yeah. So about as, I don't want to say dominant, but as overwhelming of a win as you probably expect with a score like that. The Lions are pretty much in control of most of the game. They took a pretty early lead. The Bears turned the ball over a couple times. As we saw last night, Chicago's offense is just a little bit rough right now. But the Lions did a really good job taking advantage of that and performing a lot better than they did against the Bears last time, because Caleb Williams was kind of having a field day against us last time. This time, not as much. So that was really good to see. CB, you want to talk about some things that went on during the game that really stood out to you?
Obviously, Jared Goff, nice clean game. St. Brown.
Jared Goff.
Jahmyr Gibbs with his touchdown celebration.
He was killing it. That was one of the best celebrations I've seen this year. That was hilarious.
Obviously, J-Mo had, I believe, 5 receptions, 143 yards.
The breakout continues.
Touchdown. And of course, we gotta talk about the elephant in the room, the trick play. I said, woo!
So I must ask, because as somebody that is a football junkie, when you first saw it, did you just think that they failed?
Yes. I thought when I first saw it, I said, oh, shit.
See, I the first time I saw it, I was like, oh, what was that? But when they showed the replay, and I'm like, wait a minute, Goff and Gibbs fell at the same time in the same spot. I'm like, there's no way. Like, there's no way that they both were that clumsy. Yeah, I picked up on it pretty quickly. I'm like, no way, they did that on purpose. Like, I knew they did that on purpose. So it's pretty interesting to see that they did say that they did that on purpose. But I'm like, that looks fishy. There's no way they both fell like that.
Yeah, when they continued to show the replay a couple times, I'm like, and then one of the commentators had threw out there, maybe it was a trick play. I'm like, oh, maybe it is a trick play. At first, when I saw it, when they snapped it, I said, "Oh, this is going so bad right now. I hope we don't lose the ball." But then Laporta catches it for the touchdown. I'm like, "Oh,
Did you see where they
wow."
said they got it from?
Wasn't it Green Bay or
They
something?
they said they got it from Green Bay, which is very interesting. But they said that when Green Bay did it, of course, Green Bay didn't do it on purpose. They actually fumbled the ball and it worked. And Ben Johnson, of course, being the mad genius he is, he's like, that worked really good. Let's try that out. And to see it work for the Lions is just very interesting. I know everybody's like, oh, y'all got to save y'all trick plays against the good teams. The Lions got plenty of trick plays. I am not worried at all.
Yeah, I'm not worried because I mean, we could do it against the Bears. We could do it in the playoffs. Like you said, we got more. I'm sure we got more trick plays. We got more things up our sleeve. I mean, if Jared Goff can catch a freaking touchdown, which I didn't see that coming. I
That's
didn't see that one coming. Him
that
having a
play.
receiving touchdown.
That play was so precise.
That
Like
was sick
the
too.
throw was on the money, and Golf really like brought it in. I was like, oh, okay, y'all have practiced this plenty of times before. So yeah, no, I feel you. Yeah, if they can pull off some of those plays, then I think they'll be fine. Did you see anything interesting from the defense?
Defense,
Kind of a
cause
mellow game.
yeah, Meek Robinson had some about 5 tackles, what 3 assisted
Mm.
tackles. Defense recovered some turnovers.
Yeah, they were clearly trying to knock the ball out,
Hmm.
which was good to see. I mean, trying to create some turnovers. Obviously the pass rush is still in a state of flux right now, with still a lot of
Yeah.
injuries on the defensive line, which we'll talk about soon. But yeah, it was good to see them kind of like take some chances, try and do some different things. Caleb Williams isn't going to throw a lot of interceptions. He has not thrown a lot of interceptions this year. So for them to take advantage of getting turnovers by trying to force fumbles and things like that, I found pretty interesting.
Brian Branch leading the defense with 10 tackles.
Just everywhere,
Yeah, he been
always.
everywhere. He man,
There was a play where
one hundred and 10% every play.
he broke up like a screen pass against a wide receiver, and it just was so impressive the way like he defeated the block, got off, made the tackle. I mean, just like so precise with just every single movement that he makes is really impressive. You also pointed out Amik Robertson, which I found pretty interesting. It looked like to me they were using him as an outside cornerback a lot, which I personally prefer. Like I've mentioned it a million times, I just am not a fan of Kendall Filter at all.
Yeah,
Um,
he get beat.
yeah, and I mean he gives effort. I'm sure he practices hard. He does defend the run game well. He had a pretty good stop in the run game in this game, but coverage wise, I find not Rakestraw, but Robertson a lot more impressive. So it was good to see him out there. Terry Arnold looked pretty good as well. He's been playing honestly like definitely not noticeably like any issues or anything like that. Been in pretty good position. So I don't know. I mean, the defensive line is really the defensive line and the linebackers are like the one thing. But like, how are you feeling about the defensive line right now, Sierra?
The front seven.
Yeah, mainly the D line, because we'll talk about the linebackers in a second. But D line, did you feel like they generated pressures on Caleb Williams? I don't know if you got the stats there with you,
Mm,
but
I would say decent. Let's see what we get. What we get. We had a couple sacks. I forgot what. I don't want to mispronounce his name. Start with IF.
oh, Melifonwu?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Melifonwu. Yeah,
Muhammad got a sack.
Muhammad did get a sack. Yeah. So
Did pretty good.
yeah, I
We did
agree.
pretty good.
I think the pressures are coming. I think that they might still need to blitz a little bit more, which I did a video a couple weeks ago about Melifonwu specifically being utilized on the blitz, which I think will be really interesting. Um, Also hoping to see these linebackers get back, which is really key. We saw it during the Bills game, and not as much during the Bears game, but the Lions' ability to cover opposing running backs in the passing game has been a bit of a challenge the past few weeks, to say the least. But it looks like we might be getting some reinforcements from injury either this week or pretty soon. Jalen Reeves Maven has been practicing this week. I think he's been in full practice like pretty much all week. Yeah, and hadn't been like a starter in previous years. He was more of like a special team star, but he started a lot of games last year and played really good. Not a lot of games, but a few games last year and played really good. So he'd be good to have back. And then of course Alex Anzalone leading things in the middle. They haven't opened his practice window yet, but it looks like it's coming pretty soon. So I wouldn't be surprised to see him be back either against Minnesota or to see him be back the first playoff game. But
I'm thinking the first playoff game.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, if they could get him a practice in at the end of this week, maybe, but it doesn't look like it so far. So we'll see. But just getting those reinforcements, getting Jack Campbell to have those guys next to him versus, an Ezekiel Turner or no offense to Quan Alexander, David Long. Those guys did come in and play really hard. But you really just want your guys that you have out there. So hoping to see some improvements from the front seven. Want to see a little more juice from Zadarius Smith as well, but he's been all good overall. I think just in the past couple of games, it's been a little more quieter than I like
Yeah,
to
a little more
see.
quiet. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean they did pretty good though. They did hold Caleb to 17 points, which I don't think is bad. He just holds on to the ball really long. What do you think about Caleb Williams?
Caleb Williams. You know what?
He's so interesting.
I see flashes with him. He kind of reminds me of Jordan Love. Some people say, oh, he don't got it. Oh, he has it. He doesn't have it. He has it. There's games where he throws for 300, 400 yards. He may have 1 or 2 interceptions, or he may even play a clean game and they still lose.
Mm-hmm.
He does hold on to the ball sometimes too long. I will say that offensive line ain't great.
It's bad.
The play calling, I'm not always crazy about. Caleb, what I've seen so far from him, I think he'll be all right. He hasn't been bad, but it is the Bears.
Yeah, and that's my thing. It's that it is the Bears, and the Bears. I know obviously there was the whole Justin Fields conversation during the offseason, and I do get the Bears for going ahead and taking Caleb Williams. I think that he'll be a better quarterback than Justin Fields for sure, but I think that the Bears coaching and development is just not. It's not there. And I think that they're kind of. I don't want to see. I just hope that they don't fail Caleb Williams because he is performing pretty good. Statistically, his stats look pretty good.
He don't throw many interceptions.
Yeah, he's only got 5 interceptions on the year, which is pretty good. But he also just kind of holds onto the ball really long. He doesn't seem to still play very well within like the structure of the offense. Like a lot of his plays come when he's rolling out and doing impromptu stuff, and it's like the basic stuff is what still seems to be an issue. But like I feel like a lot of that was the same thing with Justin Fields, where the basic stuff was the stuff that he would struggle with. And I'm like, this Bears team, like with their coaching, their development, like it's hard to have faith in a franchise like that.
Yeah, and then I will say, do they have weapons? Yes, but a lot of times when I see Chicago, as soon as they snap the damn ball, he is running for his life though.
Yeah.
So it's like, I just hope they don't do him like they did Carolina, Young.
Oh yeah.
Bryce Young.
I'm a big fan of Bryce Young. Very big fan.
Bryce Young, and I feel like with Caleb, Chicago might make him a scapegoat.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
I hope that they don't, because he's clearly like immensely talented, and Chicago has probably actually never had a quarterback that's this talented, believe it or not.
Right, because who they have? Jake Cutler.
Yeah, literally, and Jay Cutler might have been before Justin Fields probably the most talented. So, I mean, the Bears have never had good quarterbacks, so I hope that they wouldn't run his guy out of town, because he clearly has the talent and the ability to do so. But they just got to work a little harder. But the development is just not like seeing the Lions, how they put things together and how they put their guys in a position to succeed versus Chicago. Like they just put their wide receivers in weird places. They use guys in different ways. They forget it seems like Cole Kmet exists sometimes. Like it's very strange. It's very, very strange to see the way that the Bears run things.
Right. And then I would say with Chicago's whatever type of offensive system y'all have, I mean, God bless you. Oh, what?
Oh no, we still good.
Oh, okay.
Brief interruption.
Anyway, so even with Chicago, like with their offensive style, whatever they have, with Detroit's offensive style, which you just mentioned, it's like, well, you just mentioned Detroit, so I'm just kind of comparing the two. With our system, it's kind of in a way like a Kyle Shanahan system where we can have offensive weapons. We just need a quarterback, put it on the money.
Mm-hmm.
We got that in Jared Goff. And in my opinion, like Kyle Shanahan and Dan Campbell, similar coaching styles. Similar. I wouldn't say the same. They're not the same people, but similar coaching styles to where they can have a system, put the quarterback in, boom, insert. Now, I think Jared Goff is better than Brock Purdy, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But because our quarterback has the accuracy. But Chicago, they gotta get an offensive system going because I just be looking at the way these plays are set up, the play calls, the way the offense lines up, and I'm like,
Yeah, it's just a weird structure. But while we're
God
on
bless you.
the topic, and I don't want to get too far off topic, because I know we have a certain list of things we're going to talk about, but I want to ask really quickly because it's been something that's been on my mind when we talk about Minnesota, which we'll be playing Minnesota next week. We'll talk about them more in depth. They have a quarterback situation as well that I think a lot of people are not really talking about. You got Sam Darnold, who's playing really good. And he has them as with basically the best record in the conference at this point, tied for the Lions at least. But they drafted a quarterback early in the first round in JJ McCarthy.
Yeah,
That, you know, I'm a big Michigan fan. That's my boy. I love JJ McCarthy, and I think that he's going to be great in the NFL. But when Sam Darnold is playing this good, what do you do with the JJ McCarthy? Like, what do you think they're going to do in the offseason? Like, did they be like, okay, McCarthy, we drafted you for this. This is your team. Did they let Sam Darnold go? Because he is a free agent, so he could just walk. But like, look at what he's done for your team. What do you do in a situation like that?
I'm gonna be honest. let me be honest because y'all may not agree with me. I'm gonna say keep Sam Darnold, and I say this because some of I would say Green Bay, with how Aaron Rodgers came about, how Brent Favre and other players, quarterback wise, came about. I think you need to let these rookies sit behind some veterans sometimes. You can't always throw everybody out their first year, whatever the case may be, and think it's just about to be magic. Sometimes, what did Jordan Love? He sat behind Aaron Rodgers maybe
What, 3 years?
Yeah, like 3 years. And I mean, Jordan Love, he's looking pretty good. I believe Green Bay might be in the playoffs, probably in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that they need to let these rookies sit behind a veteran. Even with Bryce Young, I think they should have let him sit behind a veteran. Keep Sam Darnold. Keep him for now. Do you want to sign him long term?
And see, that's the thing, because McCarthy's already sitting this year, and
because of injury.
Yeah, but if you sign Sam Darnold to an extended contract, because he's not going to take a 1-year deal, because he could go on the open market and command probably $35 million a year for multiple years from somebody, probably more than that.
Because how old is Sam Darnold?
Sam Darnold's not very old. He's like 27.
Keep him. I mean, if it's not broke, don't fix it. Number one, and number two, let him. You gotta let McCarthy sit. Everybody's not gonna be a CJ Stroud. I mean, the Bears, they threw Caleb out there. Obviously, they didn't really have no choice, but they just throw these rookies out here, and I feel sometimes they need to sit. You can't just throw everybody out here and be like, voila, make magic.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I kind of agree if you can keep both, but I do feel like the flashes that McCarthy showed, because he looked really good in the preseason. He could be better. He might be better. Is the only thing. Is like, how long do you then sit him? Now, the one thing that you do have the upside of is that McCarthy is young. McCarthy was, I think, 21 when he was drafted.
Right.
So he's
not a baby.
Yeah, he's not really going anywhere as far as age wise. But I mean, you get that 4 or 5 years on that rookie contract, and at that point, you got to pay him a lot of money. Do you want to pay him a lot of money after that first year that you see him play? Or do you want to see him play more? But like, how do you see him play more if you sign Sam Darnold? I don't know. It seems like a good problem to have. You can never have too many good players.
Or would it be like, well, not really, but would it be like the Falcons where he started sucking, Kirk Cousins started sucking, and then they said, Penix, you're up.
Now that one, you can run the tape back from the offseason. When that happened, I was like, that is the dumbest thing I've ever seen. And not drafting Michael Penix, but signing Kirk Cousins and then drafting Michael Penix. It made no sense. First of all, to give Kirk Cousins that much money, because like,
what did he get? $200 million or $100 million?
They gave him $180 million, but it was over 4 years, with only the first 2 years being guaranteed. So they can get out of it probably soon-ish, but like, it made no sense. It made absolutely
at that point in his career and his age, I wouldn't have gave him all that money. Now, had this been maybe 5 years earlier, maybe. but not now. I wouldn't have done it.
Kirk
Not
Cousins
now.
has never led anybody to the promised land before.
I was about to say, has he won a playoff game?
Yeah, to sell out like that, I think he maybe has one playoff win, maybe one
Mm.
playoff win.
And how many years he been playing?
He took over right after RG3 got hurt, so like
Ooh, child.
2014. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was the wrong way to do it. But Minnesota does unfortunately seem like a very smart franchise, so I wouldn't be surprised if they handle it the right way. But to get back on track though, of course. So we talked a little bit about the injuries already. Hoping to get Reeves maybe back, hoping to get Anzalone back. Lions are playing San Francisco. So speaking of injuries, their whole team is hurt. I don't want to laugh at that, but it's crazy. They really are decimated. And it's going to be unfortunate that that's a Monday night game because it could get ugly.
Because we playing in San Francisco, right?
Yeah, and the Lions obviously are revenge for last year, which they gonna say they're approaching it like a regular game, blah blah blah. But they want to beat them. They want to beat them really bad. What are you expecting?
So with this game, before the season started, obviously, if you go our episodes back, I said that I had this game circled on the calendar. Obviously, we lost NFC Championship game, whatever the case may be. But now, it's just a regular game because they are injured. I know Ayuk and all them pretty much gone for the season. I expect us to win. And at this point, I guess if we want to treat it like a revenge game, but I'm always excited to see the Lions play. I love the Lions, but it's not one of my games that I have circled anymore. I'm more so the Bills and Detroit, and that didn't age well. But that more so got circled on my calendar. But I think we're gonna go in. I think we'll beat San Francisco. Will it be easy? No. Obviously, San Francisco knows that they ended our season, and they know that we kind of still want to go out there and be on some revenge stuff. But I think they'll play hard. I definitely see the Lions scoring 30 something.
Yeah,
because most of our games we scored 30 or more anyway.
I think it's 9 in a row or something like that they've scored 30 plus points. So,
I see us in the 30s. Now, San Francisco, maybe 23. Maybe.
I'm not going to lie. This is the first time I'm making this prediction this year because I'm very cautious about predictions. I am expecting a slaughter on Monday night.
Really?
I think the Lions are going to pick the 49ers apart. I think that the first half is going to look like the first half of the NFC Championship game. The second half is going to look like the first half of the NFC Championship game. I think they're going to pick the 49ers apart. The 49ers don't have a good secondary. Ward is decent. They got some guys. I don't want to say they're not good. They're not very good. Not doing much on the defensive line either. They can't stop the run. Flat out, they cannot stop the run. While David Montgomery is out, Jahmyr Gibbs is still here. I expect the Lions. I expect them to run all over the 49ers. I expect them to be able to throw the ball.
Gibbs be catching it in the backfield.
Yeah, I think the only way the 49ers keep this game close as far as the Lions score points is Fred Warner is a person that I could see Jared Goff kind of struggling to get by because Jared Goff seems to struggle against teams with strong linebackers. But if they can kind of decoy him out of the middle of the field and work some things around, I think the Lions are going to try and get J-Mo at 1,000 yards, which we can talk about that in a second. But I don't expect this game to be particularly close. I think a lot of people are going to be like, "Well, it's just even a Monday night game. It's going to be one of those."
It was a Monday night game before all the injuries.
People know why. Looking at it before the season,
injuries too now.
It was a marquee game before the season, but obviously the 49ers have kind of fallen apart a lot because of injuries, a lot because I do think that the 49ers are a little bit overrated.
Debo is. Oh, I'm sorry.
Well, yeah, I'm no comment. I'm not a fan of Debo's game, but yeah, I don't see them scoring a lot of points against the Lions either. I don't think the wide receivers are much of a threat. I think if they had somebody like Ayuk, he threatens the Lions a little bit more. Oh, yeah. They don't have a lot of premier route runners. Yeah, Jauan Jennings is a big guy, but he's a guy that I don't think the Lions, they don't struggle with those type of receivers. They definitely struggle with the quicker, better route runner type. So all their running backs are hurt. I mean, their whole offensive line is hurt. Trent Williams probably isn't even going to play at this point. I don't think this game is going to be particularly close.
Not even close? You don't see 23?
Oh, no, I don't. I
No.
I'm seeing something like the Cowboys game. I'm not gonna lie. Especially considering the Lions wanted revenge against the Cowboys too. Yeah, I think they're gonna cook the Niners up a little
Because the
bit.
Niners ain't gonna make the playoffs anyway.
No, they're out of contention. Yeah, their
Yeah.
record is not good. So, yeah, will be an interesting game. But as I mentioned, I'm wondering because it's two more games left. Jameson Williams has 890 receiving yards, which I don't think either one of us necessarily saw coming. I think we both expect him to have a good season. I think we both were thinking in between 750, 900 yards. It looks like he's going to eclipse that pretty soon. Well, he already has eclipsed that essentially. Um, what? Just okay, because I'm just so shocked by how not shocked, but just pleasantly surprised by how well he's been playing. Tim Patrick has been helping out as well. The Lions just
Shout
have
out to Tim Patrick.
yeah,
That's a big body boy.
yeah. It was just a really good signing, a very smart signing. And when
I get excited when he catch the ball, man.
once the Broncos cut him, everybody was like, "Go get Tim Patrick. Go get Tim Patrick. He'd be a perfect fit." And they did it, and he has been a
Mhm.
perfect fit. So they got a lot of weapons, but to see J-Mo break out as a potential 1,000-yard receiver, I wanted to ask, or I did ask earlier, and I want to get some feedback here. Where do you think this Lions wide receiver duo ranks amongst some of the top in the NFL?
Hmm.
Because right now, I put him at number 3. Is where
Behind who?
behind Philly for sure.
You think we behind Philly?
Absolutely, yeah.
Do
AJ
both of them gonna get 1,000?
I don't know about this year, but they definitely did last year. They definitely did the year before that, and they definitely did the year before that.
We talking about this year. We got to update that.
Well, AJ Brown had injuries this year, but I think
This year.
AJ Brown is as good as St. Brown. I'm not gonna say he's better, but I think he's as good, and I think Devontae Smith is still more proven than Jameson Williams is.
I mean, at this point, yeah, because they've been playing longer.
Yeah, so I think Philly's is better, and I think Cincinnati's duo is better, but that's about as far as I'm willing to go. You
Okay,
seem to think they're higher.
I'm gonna say number 2. We
Mm.
behind Cincinnati.
Mm.
Them boys in Cincinnati. Listen, shout out Jamar Chase, man.
Yeah,
Y'all might not make the playoffs, but Jamar Chase.
yeah, Jamar Chase is. I mean, Justin Jefferson, I think, is still the best receiver in the NFL, but him and Jamarco, they're like 1A and 1B at this point. Jamar is a menace.
That boy, because he got what, 4.3, 4.4 speed,
Yeah,
hands,
yeah.
route running.
Him plus Joe Burrow, he needs to be in the MVP conversation. I don't care what anybody say. He needs to be in the MVP conversation.
It's just a record though.
Yeah, I'd put him number 3. I'll put him number 3 for sure.
Yeah, I'm gonna say behind Chase and Higgins.
Okay.
And then we got us, St. Brown and Jameson. One thing about Jameson, Jameson got about 4.2 speed, man.
Man, look.
He take the top off.
Yeah, he was.
He's looking to take the top off.
He finally jumped on the St. Brown podcast this week. Finally, after they was trying to get him on for like a year, they finally got him on there, and they were talking about his speed. He thinks he can run faster than a 4.2, and I'm like, okay. I mean, I want to see it. I want to see it. He thinks so. I don't know about that, but he thinks so. Which I mean, he be flying. He be flying. So
He probably went, what, you think he run about 22 miles an hour? Saquon?
probably a little. I think he was like just speed, like pure speed wise. He's definitely, I'd say, the second fastest player in the NFL right now. I think.
Yeah, because you got that boy in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think Worthy is the fastest. I mean, Tyreek still, you still got to worry about Tyreek. Tyreek does have elite speed, but he also is a little older. I think J-Mo is probably the second fastest behind Worthy.
Second fastest.
Yeah.
I go with that.
if he ran a
Because
40
Worthy is a 4.1, right?
No, he ran a 4.21, I believe it was.
4.21.
Yeah, I think J-Mo would probably run like a 4.26 or something like that, which is still absurd speed. But
Yeah, I got, and then St. Brown.
yeah, St. Brown's just a dog.
Hands, boy.
He just is built different. It makes no sense.
Hands, boy.
He is absolutely built different. So yeah, it's good to see.
Yeah, we got Philly. We got AJ Brown. We got Devontae.
Yeah, I think they're a more.
I can't wait to play off Philly. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't want to play them.
Shit, I do.
Well, if Kenny Pickett is starting at quarterback, I'd love to play them. To be fair.
No, Hurts just got a concussion. He coming back.
They said he's not playing this week.
I'm saying for the playoffs.
He'll probably be back, but concussions ain't no joke. Everybody like, oh, it's just a concussion. He might be a little. He come back. So we'll see.
I mean, it wasn't like Tua.
Oh, no, nobody's concussions are like Tua's, but
Shout out to Tua. Hopefully he's doing good down there. Young boy.
yeah, Miami underwhelmed per the usual, but yeah, I really like the Lions wide receiver duo, but we'll see. Should be interesting, but really just would be nice to see him break that 1,000-yard mark. That would be
Because what is
really
St.
good.
Brown at?
St. Brown already over 1,000. He got 100 catches, 1,000 yards, 10 touchdowns.
Is he at 11?
I think so, somewhere in that range. He might
Yeah,
be close
boy,
to
St. Brown. Shout out to St. Brown.
Yeah, he's just
They both should make the Pro Bowl. Not that we're gonna play in it, but they're both Pro Bowl boys.
I kind of agree. I don't know. There's a lot of wide receivers in the NFL to fight over, but
I mean, you got Jefferson, of course. You got Chase. You know.
yeah, and like I mentioned, Smith and Jigba in Seattle is getting off a little bit too right now. So, but yeah. Other than that, though, we'll see. I mean, again, high expectations for this 49ers game. Hoping to see the Lions get that, be able to battle for that number one spot, which it depends on what happens with this Minnesota Green Bay game because they play each other. We don't know what'll happen in that game, blah blah blah. But it looks like it looks like the number one seed is gonna come down to that game against Minnesota. We'll talk about that a little further down the line. We don't want to skip ahead. One game at a time. But that being said, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. Appreciate y'all for listening. Appreciate our brand new listeners, especially our folks that's commenting and checking us out. Continue to check us out. We're gonna continue getting this stuff out to y'all. CB, you wanna go ahead and wrap it up?
All right. I thank our new listeners, of course. Thank Detroit as a city, as a fan base. We do have the best fan base. You can follow us on TikTok, 411 Lions. You can follow us on Instagram. We already gave you our Instagram. Just keep up with us, and we will be back in a couple days. CB, signing out.
Peace.